What if you're wrong? Do you ever worry about that?
No.
You don't worry. You don't worry that one day God may come back and say, "I never, ever taught you to hate."
No, God is hate. God is not love like everybody else is saying.
Let's take a trip down memory lane.
All the people in the world that read the King James Bible, how come there's just this group?
Only the white race understands it.
Okay, well, wait, hold on.
Only the white race will have his eyes open
How come
understanding the truth.
99%? How come 99% of white Christians don't believe as you do, and they're reading the same Bible?
Perverted by the Jews.
Ah, yes, of course. When all else fails, blame the Jews. More from this piece of video.
When time comes, God will send them back to their homeland, Africa. I have nothing against them.
Why will God send them to Africa?
Because all the races will go back to their homeland.
Well, where do whites go? This used to belong to...
Whites stay here, New Jerusalem. America.
Excuse me, whites stay in New Jersey?
New Jerusalem. The United States, New Jerusalem.
Okay, but the Native Americans, which we used to call Indians, they were here first. We have to get out.
Well, that line triggered them.
It's a promised land. God gave it to us.
Okay, so... Oh, God gave it...
That's how it goes.
Excuse me?
If you don't like it, then...
Excuse me, wait, God gave the United States of America to us?
It's a promised land.
Wait, is this in the Bible? The Bible was written before 1776.
Yeah. Yes, and it does tell the future.
So how did God know that there was no United States of America? How could God have given... How in the Bible could it say that God...
God prophesies future in the Bible.
Jerry Springer, R.I.P. to him, then had this moment.
All of us is one color, because when the lights go out, all of us are black.
God bless you.
Look at Jerry. Look at Jerry raising the black fist. This show was nuts.
What scares me with all this is that you weren't born evil. You weren't born bad. And what's scary about all of this is that behind every one of these 5, which once were beautiful young babies, somebody has put this in their minds.
Now look, we should also remember, do not forget this. This family was a Christian nationalist family. In a way, what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance envisioned for the country, along with Peter Thiel. And they were Holocaust deniers. There was one piece of video from Jerry Springer's official YouTube channel where he said, "We know 6 million Jews died." And the dad, August Christ, said, "We don't know that." And to my understanding, that was the one time where Jerry Springer actually wanted to fight a guest. You could find that by searching this video in YouTube. Now, August Christ is someone that the SPLC wrote about. A hot-tempered, longtime white supremacist and Christian identity minister who now suffers from severe diabetes. Christ III is a longtime white supremacist who once headed a handful of competing splinter factions of the once mighty Aryan nations. Excuse me, they would continue. Christ has fervently advocated for the mass murder of people who look like me, people who are not white, and what he calls race traitors. He has also promoted lone wolf domestic terrorism, which he called leaderless resistance under the radical banner of Pan-Aryanism. He has frequently ranted against what he described as the Jewish-controlled mainstream media. To see how mainstream these thoughts are in conservative politics is frightening. Frightening. Because these are the same groups that many Republicans cling to for their support, and they will dog whistle it. I remember hearing a story about how one former white supremacist spoke with one outlet on how they TiVo'd, that's how far back this goes, Tucker Carlson's old interviews because his old shows, because they wanted to watch it and then they wanted to watch it again. It's sort of like an athlete watching tape. They wanted to study how he was able to use the powers of Fox News to signal to them that he is one of them. That is former white supremacist words, not me. It's frightening. He also has courted a ton of publicity. In the mid-2000s, he claimed to be forging an alliance between neo-Nazis and Muslim jihadists. In January 2012, he quit the Aryan nations. Weeks after being convicted of federal fraud-related charges 2 years later, essaying a minor in South Carolina. Jennifer Christ, meanwhile.
Well, my father, August Christ, he was a very well-known white supremacist. He was in the Klan when I was a kid. And then when I was a teenager, he started getting into things heavily when I was about 12 or 13. There was it all started when I was, I believe I was around 14. The talk show circle industry had seen me. My father had put me on TV for this, like a documentary type of thing. And they had, told me what to say. So I said it, and it was shocking. So now, at this point, all of the talk shows wanted me to come on their show and say the same horrible things, to basically exploit me and, get views and make money.
It appears has been able to break away from the family. She's basically saying that we were used by her father, who was a crazy person, to promote these white supremacist ideologies. They say history repeats itself. What I am seeing in this clip that is very old is the fact that while some may have been able to break away, we are seeing this rise once again in American politics, and it has also gone mainstream. And although these shows come and go, the mentality and mindset that infects so many Americans remains a mainstay. How we combat it, where we went wrong, up for discussion. I'm sure there are a plethora of right answers on the subject. What gets me is we will see another Jennifer Christ because of the emboldening of the current movement of MAGA. Because it is a racist ideology. It is an unconstitutional ideology. It is one where they believe that you should suck off the oligarchs and not care about your fellow man. Even though they'll pretend not to believe these things, you don't have to dig hard enough for them to out themselves. Great example of this was when the Good Liars were talking to a MAGA supporter who was wearing a Let It Fly shirt showing the Confederate flag, and just one simple follow-up about slavery, the enslavement of black people. They gave a no comment. Over and over and over again, it was a no comment. Why? Because they know. They know. They just don't want to admit it. At least some don't. So what I fear is the next Jennifer Christ, the next August Christ. Because years down the line, we are going to see these same exact stories. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.